am so glad that you decided to watch another one of the lives and talking about a self-esteem. You know, there was back a couple of years ago, I had sex with a woman, and she asked if this was gratuitous sex or if it was a pity sex. And it was like, no, I just want to have sex. Well, here's the reality. She'd been divorced. It didn't go well. She was very affluent. She had a lot going for her. She was a powerhouse. She understood about management and being an owner of a corporation. But here's the thing. Her self-esteem towards sex and having a regular partner was in the pits. She would go from, well, she was celibate for probably 7 or 8 years. And our mental state is what causes us to be able to have wonderful sex or erectile dysfunction. When we make the decision that we are not worthy, what happens is the wheels just fly off the bus in a sexual way. We have the ability as men to communicate what our needs are. You know, one of the things that happened in my life is that for the first 30 years or so, I pretty much wandered around in career and women and relationships. And what that did was it made me realize that there were like 4 different areas that were major for me that I wandered around in. I wandered around in business, relationships. I wandered around in my personal relationship with my family, and it wasn't very productive. When I started focusing a little bit more, I started achieving a lot more. I started achieving things that were financially, physically, emotionally, and my self-esteem went up. I will tell you that my self-esteem wasn't very high in high school. I was an overachiever. I did a number of things that most people of my age didn't do. And, you can look at that and say, well, that person has a high self-esteem. In reality, it was the ability to cover a low self-esteem. If you looked at my body posture and you looked at what the ailments were and you looked at my health, you would have found that at that point that there was a dysfunction. It wasn't working. It just didn't happen. So one of the things that we need to be totally aware of is that as men, we need to be able to start talking about what our needs, wants, and desires are. We need to be talking about our health. We need to be talking about our ailments. We need to be sitting around and saying, oh, I got this pain, I got this, and we need to be able to talk about our emotions, what's happening with our feelings, what's happening with our self-esteem. And the reason why is women do it. They don't die immediately. Why can't we do it? Because if we did it, our health would be a lot better and we'd live longer. We would live a lot longer. We have bravado. We talk about, our pencils, and we talk about our genitalia. And reality is that doesn't mean squat, because what that is that's a layer. That's a layer. It's like talking about the weather, talking about the sports, Jiminy Christmas. When we start to open up and become a little bit more vulnerable, what happens is that we don't lose anything. What we do is start to gain because we are more compassionate with our partner. We're more compassionate in relationships. We then start to generate a vibe around us that we're approachable. And, you know, we can always turn it off. That's the cool part about it. You know, somebody comes up panhandling, we can turn it off and say, no, we aren't doing that today. We don't need to be just rolling over. That's not the point. What the point is that when we have a healthy self-esteem, we have boundaries. Yeah, they're right there. And I'm going to tell you no. Yeah, you cross that line, I'm going to tell you no. Oh, you cross that line. Oh, you're starting to beat me up. You're starting to use, different psychological battles with me. All right, great. Off with your head. I have no problem with that. We have to understand that there are external factors, and they can be our personal relationships, they can be family, they can be society. And society has put a lot on us, to be the breadwinner, to show no emotion, to provide for everyone. We have religious beliefs that you're not supposed to have sex before marriage. One religion that I'm familiar with, you're not allowed to have sex unless you're going to have children. Another religion that I'm aware of is that you have to put a sheet between you and your partner with a hole in it for your penis, and that's how you have sex, so you don't come in contact with them. Look, that will hurt your self-esteem. I can guarantee it. And it doesn't really create an environment where the woman wants to have sex with you. It just doesn't work. So what we have to understand is that we get our self-esteem from our parents, relatives, caretakers, and leaders. And then we start to compare ourselves. We go to parties, we go to family get-togethers, we have holidays. We go to the movies. We start comparing our bodies, our finances, our relationships with the movie screen, with the people that are in our sphere of influence. Well, right there. Do you see a problem? It's not your fault. Do you see the problem? We need to, as men, create our own movie. Our movie says this is a stud muffin. Even if you happen to have a beer belly and you happen to have heart disease and you happen to have kidneys or liver or hepatitis or AIDS, or you're gay, or you're straight, or you're bi, it's okay. You need to create your own movie. You need to be true to your own words. In other words, integrity. You have to have some integrity. You have to become intentional. You got to know where you're going. So when we get a great diagnosis, at that point, in the erectile dysfunction area, we can then start moving forward in order to get a cure. Our self-esteem, if we have a high one and it's a physical issue, bingo, we know what way to go and take action. If we understand that there's a psychological issue, self-esteem has a lot to do with that. Boom. We know where to go and who to associate with in order to get the cure and the results. So, I need you to comment. I need you to talk about Reiki healing, because that's going to be one of the opportunities that's going to get you to a point where you are going to be able to be cured. We need to talk about what's happening in your life. We need to be aware of the opportunity to get the cure. Go ahead, comment, and go ahead, and if you're interested, take the assessment. See what rabbit hole you've gone down. It's in one of the guides. And I want to thank you for coming out this evening and taking a look at this event.